Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome a multifaceted professional with a deep expertise in strategy from Tel Aviv, Israel, Mr. Tomer Cohen. Tomer, welcome to the show.
Hi, Hash. How are you doing?
Thank you. Tomer is an international strategy expert and a board director. So, Tomer, you've got so many different types of interests. Let me start by asking you, tell me a little bit about your own journey and what sparked your interest in economics and management.
Well, it started, I think, when I was 13, even 14, when we back at home invested in the stock market. So I learned all the definitions and each stock, especially in the US. So it was really drove my enthusiasm to economy. Okay, so I was very picky and get it into details about everything. And so in Israel we have a mandatory army. I served in the army. I was an officer. I served even in reserve, and all my degrees were in economy and related fields like management, like strategy, like I also did a thesis. My professor wanted me to go into the academia world, but my passion always was the business side. I've learned also in Wharton, Pennsylvania. There I focused on strategy, which is my expertise today. Even in parallel and before, I've worked for almost a decade in the biggest investment house in Israel in several positions. Each position was very different from each other. I started from the bottom. It's not bottom. I started from the start as a representative, and then I moved forward on the scale to management, to sales, and then even internal auditor, which is usually been served for CPAs, for accountants, and I'm not an accountant. I'm a financier and an economy person.
Right.
But I was very up to detail, and my reports was unique. My usual report was unique. I challenged the system on the business side. Okay, usually it's on regulatory and certifications and such and protocols, etc. So I try to spice it a little bit. And then time went up. It was before the COVID, I think. I had my own firm. I started to do financial plans and business plan to firms, small and big, strategy and modeling from Israel and from around the world. And people loved my work and started advising a little bit and went into the venture capital world, to the innovation.
So I've got questions for you on each of these. So let me move on. You were telling me that you were in auditing. From auditing, what was the excitement or the motivation to move to global strategy consulting?
Well, actually, my manager back in the days, I told him that this is my passion. I was very transparent, okay? And I tried to move in the company inside to business side, okay? Because it was, I told him, I have a lava inside of me that want to go outside, vanish outside. So he told me, you know what? I think you are the right person, and I tried, and there is no open position. And actually, it's a funny story when sometimes bad things can go, for the best. I give you a short story. The company was under sale. The owners was the biggest company. The owners want to sell the company and started to shut down departments. And our department also was shut down.
Yeah.
My manager came to me and told me, Tomer, you know what? I need to let go of people. And I had the best results with all the KPIs. I had the best results. He told me, you know what? I need to let go of you. He told me. But you know what why I picked you? Because I 100% sure that you will add the best outside. And you know what? He was right. He was damn right. Okay. Sorry for my French.
Wonderful.
And yeah, and when I let go and I can do whatever I want, then the laba went out and there was no barriers. Okay. I could do my business side and show the world my business side with my wisdom as an internal auditor.
Amazing. Let's now talk about the VC fund that you are a managing partner of. As a managing partner of a VC fund, what sectors or trends excite you the most today?
Well, it's changed. First of all, I'm not against any sector, okay? In matter of my vision, of course, for each VC has specific criteria, and they invest in specific field, each one in specific check size, specific maturity of the company, etc. But in person, I don't dismiss any startup. However, for your question, you cannot escape from several fields today. I'm an Israeli, so Israeli connected to cyber, you can see it. But this is, I can also give this field as an example. We just had few months ago the biggest exit in the Israeli history of Wiz companies sold to Google, to Alphabet at 32 billion US dollars, which is a relatively new company, just 5-6 years. Okay, it's a great achievement. My favorite fields for today, it's changed. You can see as an investor as an investor, I can see all the defense technologies, okay, because you cannot escape from the situation around the globe. You cannot close your eyes, shut down. Okay, and I just posted an article on LinkedIn about it, and I encourage everyone to follow my LinkedIn. Look for Tomer Cohen 1. I just post about drones and all related to drones technologies. Okay, there are different aspects of drone technologies, and you can see it in every unfortunate war or combat around the globe. But governments need this type of field, and there are, I think, hundreds of solutions related to this field. Okay, and of course, defense technology. And I really like anything with real sophisticated, like quantum. Okay. Quantum and AI, and AI could be tricky. AI could be tricky because many startups call today, and I mixed AI with my technology. Not everything is AI. You should look for it more intense.
But tell me, you must be meeting a lot of startup founders who are looking for money. What, in your view, are some common mistakes you see a lot of startups make when they seek funding?
Well, there are many mistakes. Okay. First of all, sometimes the person in front of you does not like the idea, so you cannot do. And I was on the boss side, because before of my role in the VC, I did a little bit fundraising. Okay, so I know how to. I'm not do ghosting. I always answer. Okay, and try to look the person in front of me like it's his own life, like it's his baby. Okay, the company is the baby of the entrepreneur. You should respect him, the company, and his idea. You cannot tell him this is garbage. And I heard. Okay, the most common mistake is, first of all, you cannot nag on investor on directly, on his WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Okay, sometimes it's too rude. Okay, you should send an email, and sometimes if you get a negative reply, you can send an email, a progress email saying, 6 months ago I was in this place and now I'm in this place. And VCs and analysts look on this as a positive idea, like they see the progress of the company. One more mistake, which is, I always see it, when you're an entrepreneur, the investor wants that you invest your time in his money.
Yeah.
So if you do 3 ventures and you're also advising and you do other things, so in general, you don't put 100% of your time to his money. You put 30%, 40%, sometimes 50%. So maybe there is a good idea for it or a good answer for it. So get prepared with the answers, because a good investor will check on you, on your background. If you were an employee, he will call your former bosses and will ask about you and your judgment and your behavior and your loyalty. And if you're a right person, he will do a background check.
Well said. You also mentor both startups and established firms.
Yeah.
What is the difference that you find when you mentor a startup versus an established firm?
It's very different. And this is, I don't look my job as a job, because I really like what I do. It's very different world. When you come to startup, so most of the times there are 1, 2, maybe 3 people. This is the company. That's it. And there are lack of experience, lack of money. Sometimes they don't have money at all. Lack of experience, money, and they need mentorship. They need advising, like a shrink, like a psychologist. Okay, you need to give him a sense of not a solution, but a way. They direct them to the way. Okay, they're really unexperienced, and sometimes they are in their 20s. Okay, and you cannot be in your full capacity when you're young. Okay, you can be very talented, very, very talented, but in matter of their internal day-to-day, sometimes they have very good technology skills, okay, but their management skills are very poor. Okay, and not because they are not good, because they are unexperienced. So this is on the startup level. It's a different story. You should mentor them like you're an older brother. And sometimes their age is bigger than me. But so you have to do the genuine.
Very interesting.
Established firm, it's an all different story.
Very
okay,
good.
they need the fresh ideas. They need something new. They need to say different aspect of things.
Yeah.
You don't have to give guidance to CEO who is 20 years of experience in management. Okay, much more than me. Cannot be arrogant.
Yeah.
Okay, you should keep on the level of advising, of seeing the different picture. Okay, seeing few years ahead, and sometimes ask the CEO about his concerns. Let's say he has a plan to penetrate a country. So you should ask his concerns about it and start developing and do brainstorming together with him. Okay, ask questions and see what you can achieve from it.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's a different story. It's a different
Absolutely.
work.
Absolutely. Tomer, let's move on. You're also very interested in geopolitics, and I was fascinated that you're active in strengthening business ties between Israel, the US, and India, and the Gulf. Tell me a little bit more about what drives this mission.
Well, first of all, I need to say about Indians. Okay, Um, the first, I think, encounter I had with Indians was 12, maybe 13 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned that Indians and Israelis are very similar.
Correct.
Okay, maybe not in the culture,
Yeah.
but they're in their innovation,
Yeah.
in their way of think, the desire to go up. You can see Indians and former Indians run the biggest companies in the world. You cannot escape from it.
Yeah.
Okay. And the desire to prosperity, to peace. Okay. So I see Indians as allies and pro-Israel and just pro-economy. I always try to do what I do the best way I can. And also Indians. And this is why I find share goals. This is about Indians. This is, put it aside. So when the Abraham Accord started, even before, you can saw on the moderate Arab countries that their way of think is different. They have their own culture, and you should respect it and not try to change them. This is what I think. Okay, you should respect their culture. Having said that, you can see that they want prosperity. They want better life for their children. And how they do it? They create alliances. Okay, with people that thinks alike. So you can see of course, the Abraham Accords. It's a famous. I think most of the famous alliances in the last decade, even 2 decades, between the USA, of course, US led it, Israel, Bahrain, Morocco, and Sudan, and I wish more countries, and there are countries that check on it, will join. So there are a lot of Indians in the UAE. Okay. Yeah. I think it's the biggest minority there.
Yeah.
There are a lot of Indians trying to change the world for the best. Okay. And there is an alliance between the US, India, the UAE, and Israel. It's not a written alliance, but you can see it on the ties. Correct. You can see it. And I'm motivated on my ideology for a better world, for peace for my children. Okay. Because not all the Arab worlds are bad for Israelis. No, it's a wrong perception. Okay. And Israelis know it. Most of the Israelis know it, that you can go safely in Arab countries as an Israeli, as a Jew person, and create economies ties. Sure. Okay. And I will later try to elaborate about it.
Yeah. I want to move on because we have limited time. Can you share a story where diplomacy and business strategy successfully intersected in your work?
Well, there are dozens of examples. Right after the Abraham Accords, that just after the Abraham Accords, every conversation I had a goal, okay, to do as many introduction between myself and the Emirates every day. I had a goal, 3-4 meetings a day, every day, except from Saturday, which is our holy day for Jews. Okay, every day, and I did it very strict. And every conversation started, and sometimes I met not with Emirates, because in the UAE most of the population are not Emirates, are business people and etc. Yeah. So in every conversation started with greetings for each other's, greetings for the new peace treatment, and it's smoothed the conversation in much better place, because at the end, every business, it's meeting between two people or more, and if you have a good connection, everything is much easier. Yeah. Even between countries, you can see the Prime Minister of Israel goes to the president of the United States and have good relationship. You cannot ignore it. And I assume, I don't know for sure, that it is helpful for the ties between Israel and the US.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And there is every place that I stepped, it was very, today we have ongoing war, and it's a different story, but I see it. And I have one more example that I cannot elaborate, but there is an example with a country that I've met for business purposes that I will give you a hint because I don't know if I can share it. That
no, please don't share anything confidential.
Yeah, it will not.
Please don't. Yeah.
Will lead to something positive in diplomacy.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the best I can do.
Okay.
It was started with business purposes.
Yeah. No, I'm sure, but let's stay away from anything that is confidential. I have time for two more questions for you, and I want to come to strategy again. What has been the most challenging strategic dilemma you have faced, and how did you resolve it?
Well, I will try to focus on startups, okay? Because in businesses, in big firms, it's different story. In startups, most of the startups are in lack of money. Even if they have money, they have runway. Runway, how much time you will end your money. This is you have income, you have money in the bank. It's a simple math. You can see how many months or years you have until you're break even. So there was a company that I'm deeply involved in because I'm a board member in 7 or 8 companies. Stop counting, an active board member because I want to help. I'm not just there for sign. And there was a company that I don't know if this is the biggest strategic dilemma, but something kept in my mind. There was a company that wanted to go to the US. Okay, they have branches around the globe. Okay, they are startups. Okay, they are a small company, and when you go to the US, you go big. You go big. You need to raise a lot of money. Okay, and I've learned from a different company I know very closely.
Yeah.
When you go to the US and you are not ready, what I mean ready, it means that you have a product market fit. That your product fit the market.
Yeah.
Okay. There are ways to calculate and see it, and they were not ready. They burn a lot of money every month. They raised a lot of money. They raised a lot of money. Okay, I think 8 million or 10 million. But they burned a lot of money. Okay, and their income was not so good because they had problem with their product. They had problem with their product. They solved the problem. It was too late. And my conclusion, my experience from it, that when you go to the US too early, it's a problem. So they eventually decided to postpone their entry to the US. They entered, but not in full gas. They entered, but they postponed their entry and focus on their core business in Israel and other countries to get more ready to raise this money to go into the US. You have to be ready.
Yeah.
You have to be ready because you have to go to the US because this is a big market. Okay, the biggest market. You can do a great business here in Israel, but when you're an entrepreneur and in a startup, in a high-tech company, you think big. You want to conquer the world.
Yeah, I'm with you. I understand. But, we've run out of time now, Tomer. So I just want to say this has been a fascinating conversation. I've not met too many people who do so many different things between strategy, between running a VC fund and geopolitics. Thank you for speaking to me, and all the very best to you.
Thank you, Ash.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the brand called You.